And I'll tell you what, I realized quickly that podcasts are an incredible tool to network, because typically, what do? Let's meet for coffee. Who came up with that concept? I don't know, but you sit in a coffee spot and then that's how you meet. Welcome to our podcast, One Home Service Podcast. And today we got Matt with us. Matt is a special guy in Parkland, the founder of Tap Into. I got to hear this story, man. How did you, because you built a nice little media company here with Tap Into. How the heck, because I understand this is not your full-time job. You have something else you do.
Well, so I can't take credit for founding Tap Into. We started Tap Into Parkland.
Okay.
The founder of Tap Into, ironically, just in case he watches this, is living here in Parkland. His name's Mike.
Oh, awesome.
And Mike founded Tap Into up in New Jersey. And they had moved down here, and we had moved down here.
How long ago was this?
This was 2017.
Okay.
And our oldest boys were friends playing basketball together. We got to know them, and that's when Mike and the idea presented itself. And so we were the first Tap Into in South Florida, therefore Tap Into Parkland. That was 2017. We started officially in 2018.
Awesome.
So we are the first Tap Into in Florida.
Awesome. And tell me what you do full time.
So I work at Northwestern Mutual, right? We do financial planning, all sorts of, insurance, risk, investments, college, long-term planning for our parents, and so on and so forth. So that's what I do full time.
Cool. And then your wife, I understand, works with you on the Tap Into side.
She's the one who started Tap Into officially.
Uh-huh.
I just joined. That's why you see her face on Tap Into the website. It was her who got us going into it,
Awesome.
and it was a great idea.
It is. It's a great model. I mean, look, you guys are a really good media company. You have a lot of good content that's out there, and look, that's what it's about, spreading the word, and you guys do a good job of that. So it's great to have you here. We wanted to talk about podcasts because it came up, and Matt and I were just shooting the shit, and all of a sudden he's like, "Hey, tell me about this podcast thing again." And I said, "Yeah, well," and now I'm known as the podcast guy. Right?
You're the podcast guy. I don't know about podcasts.
We're going to learn all about it.
How this works.
Yeah.
How to even capture it and share it in ways that are relevant and interesting.
So, let me first tell you about where we're at now. So the Sprinter van, I used to own a digital marketing company, and the company did a lot of TV production. They were predominantly, that was their model. TV, they had a couple shows, they had 6 or 7 TV shows that they ran, and some of them running 20 years. So I got a really good behind the scenes look at how production worked, and I loved it, man. I'm like, this is the coolest little thing. Now the studio, anybody had to come, travel. They flew in from Atlanta, wherever they were, the client, they'd have to come to the studio. And I saw, I can't remember, I think it was like a talk show host that had a car he was driving, and he started talking, and it turned into like a little segment that he did where he was, I forget who it was.
Jimmy Fallon did that. A couple of those late night
Fallon. I think it was like a guy who was British, I think. Or
James Corden.
That's who it was.
Yep.
So I was watching that, and I was like, "That's cool."
Mm-hmm.
I said I could do it. So I started looking at buying a Sprinter van because you have 4 captain chairs, and it checks every box, Matt. It's got you want to go on trips with the kids, your family, you take them to Disney. You can go out with the boys, go to a basketball game, go golfing. So I said, check. And business wise, I could have this as an office. So it's like, I'm going to start. So I started looking. It was right before COVID. Prices were decent on these. And I picked this up, and I started a podcast called Opportunity Knocks. And my goal originally was, let me just interview successful people in South Florida and find out when an opportunity knocked on their door and what they did to take advantage of it. That was the premise of the show. And I'll tell you what, I realized quickly that podcasts are an incredible tool to network, because typically, what do? Let's meet for coffee. Who came up with that concept? I don't know, but you sit in a coffee spot and then that's how you meet. But when you say, do you want to be a guest on my podcast? Whoa, that sounds a little more official. And I like that. And all we're doing is getting to know each other.
Point. Yeah.
So it's a networking tool, and that's what I realized quickly. And I'll give you a quick story. One of the companies that I wanted to meet with was a woman-owned business. Her name's the company's called Zendu. Her name is Lil Roberts, right? So I've heard incredible things about this lady. I've never met her, but I've just heard really good things. She's involved in one of those the groups. I can't Vistage, I believe it's called. You ever hear of Vistage?
But I don't know much.
Okay. So Vistage is like a boardroom type thing where you have, and she was very involved with that. She's president of the South Florida Vistage. So I said, I want to meet Lil. And then what I do, I send an email. Hey, I have a podcast. I'd love to have you as a guest. Now, at this time, I just started building One Home, the app. And she had her company's called Zendu, and it's a technology company, but they do bookkeeping. So it's like an online bookkeeping, but it's a tech company, totally tech. So I know she had that background of building an app and doing this. I said, this would be a great guest. I could learn from her, get to know her, build that relationship again, networking. So she quickly replied saying, I'd love to. My schedule is very tight though. And we got on 2 weeks down the road. 30 minutes is all I needed. And I said, everything's going to be set up. It's going to be beautiful. You have nothing to worry about. I send out, I drive out my podcast, my Sprinter studio, and I pull up in, and she's right off Cypress Creek. And I'm all set up and I'm nervous now because I've never met her. And she's told me how tight she was on schedule. And I said, I'm outside. I called her on a cell phone. I'm outside. She comes in, walks in. And I'm looking and my camera's not recording and I could not figure out why. So she's sitting in the seat like you are. And I could tell, it's like,
does she know it's not recording?
No. Well, we haven't started the podcast yet, but I'm scrambling and I'm sweating, by the way, now because I'm nervous as hell. I'm like, this is not a good first impression, doing this podcast. I invited her on and I can't even get the thing to record. So I said, Lil, I'm so embarrassed. This is 5 minutes into it. I said, I cannot, it's not recording. And she goes, oh my gosh, do you have AT&T? And I go, yeah. She goes, we have a dead spot in our parking lot. You're probably in it. And I go, oh, well, I kind of was relieved because, I was like, it's not my fault,
Of course.
So we laughed it off. And I said, now we have 10 minutes left, 15 minutes left. And she's like, we don't have time to do this. She goes, but I tell you what, I'm enjoying this conversation. Let's keep talking. Now, obviously it wasn't recording because I didn't have the internet, but we hit it off in the 30 minutes or so that we were there. No podcast was filmed.
Yeah.
But I built a really good relationship with Lil, and Lil said to me, Todd, your marketing, I could tell just by your background and what you're doing here. You're a marketing and sales guy. Would you come help me with Zendu? And I said, I'm building this business. This is perfect. I'd love to do consulting work. So I ended up getting a 6-month consulting contract with Zendu.
Wow.
And I drove the Sprinter there and it was part-time. It was probably 20, but it was while I was building One Home.
That's great. Yeah.
It was a good part-time thing. So Lil and I became friends from that. That's a podcast. That's the power of podcast. Now, unfortunately, that never happened in podcast. I tell Lil, we got to do it again because we don't have anything to show. But that's the kind of thing, you build these relationships, you get to know them. And now I use this Sprinter and I rent it out now. And people that businesses want to rent out, and I'll produce it. I'll have everything set up. They just have to show up. We'll even pull it up. And you could do podcasts, Matt, solo. You don't need to do it. Again, It's not so much. When people hear podcasts, they think of, Joe Rogan or Howard Stern type thing, and that's a one in a million. This is really... My goal is I want to build a relationship with whether it's a client that I'm bringing on and giving them value, or it's somebody new that I wanted to meet or network. I want to build a relationship, get to know them. And then the beauty is I take the clips of that, I edit them and I find the highlights of it. And then I give that to whoever my guest is. So you'll have it. And you could use that to market and do your own stuff too,
Yeah. Can I ask you a couple of podcast questions?
Yeah, please.
So if you're doing a solo podcast, are you bringing thoughts that you want to talk about?
Totally.
Are you having a conversation? Like for me, the conversation with the guy in my head, right?
Yeah.
My favorite poem, roses are red, violets are blue. I'm schizophrenic and so am I. Have you ever heard that one?
Never did.
No, but the running conversation in our head, right? Of we're always talking to ourselves, right?
Yes.
So are you how does that work when you're doing a podcast by yourself?
Yeah, it's really good. So the podcast by yourself is, again, the word podcast I use very loosely.
Sure. Yeah.
It's more
It's
of,
general.
so I'll give you, it's more of like, remember the old term we used was vlog, video blog, the vlog?
Yep.
That's really what it is. I'm basically, so I'll give you a perfect example. I'm doing a segment that I just started called The Daily Grind. And it's my journey building one home. I'm documenting my journey, right? Now, I did my first episode 2 weeks ago. I launched it yesterday. So I have a week of footage.
Content, yep.
And that was a single one. It was just me. And what I did is I put topics. Now, this is about me building and failing as I build a business. Big part, my whole thing with this content is you hear always about the wins with everybody on social media. Everything's Ferraris and Lamborghinis, and let's talk about how it really is building a business, which is you get knocked down, you get beat up. You're on an island by yourself, and it's hard.
Yep.
So I want to talk about that. I'm not afraid to talk about that. I think that, showing, your vulnerability is the word I was thinking of.
Absolutely.
Being vulnerable. Thank you for that. That's, to me, the key with what I'm building now is I want to talk about that, and I want you to see how I bounce up and get back. So I wrote to answer your question. I put down bullet points of what do I want topics be. The first episode is on, and I'm going to give a general one because I don't want to read notes. I don't want to read anything.
Yeah.
So my first one is about your phone contacts are gold. Don't discredit that. So as an example, we just met the jeweler.
Yep.
She might spend money on TV commercials and all different SEO and all these different marketing things, and it adds up, right? And you start spending this money. How about your phone? Go on your phone and reach out to those people and tell them you're building a business. They want to help. These are people that know you, like you, trust you. So I'm spending, and I have 3,800 contacts in my phone. Now, these are people that I might have met when I was in Miami starting my first business that don't really remember me. But for whatever reason, I saved their number. There was something valuable about that person. I said I would. Now, I sent out a text. This is all part of that vlog.
This is great.
And that text that I sent out was a video recording of me saying, "Hey guys, I just want to let you know you're getting this because you're in my contact list, and you might not have any idea who I am. Most likely you do because you're in my contact list. But I'm letting you know that I started a business called One Home, and look, it's a free app download. I'd love for you to download it. I'd love for you to tell me what your thoughts are. Thank you so much for supporting me." Now, 3,800 people. I use a text service. First fail because I didn't know. First I started
Don't
sending
use
them
a text service.
Well, let me back up.
I have a million questions.
Good. No, because that's what I want. I want to teach. I want this to be a learning thing because
and I know next to nothing. So perfect.
Yeah. So one of the things was so I first started individually texting them.
Okay.
And I realized I just spent 2 hours. I went through 10 people.
Yeah, that's a lot of work.
It's a lot, and I'll never.
And you're sending a video clip?
No, just an audio. I did an audio, but I recorded one audio once, so now I have that audio. So it's just attaching it. But you still want to personalize. If you're sending one individually, you're like, "Hey, Brian, I haven't talked to you."
It wasn't like like an electronic computer insert where you'd say, "Hey there, Eric.
Yeah,
this is me calling you." So it's super personal but impersonal.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
That's hilarious. No, that's funny. But yeah, it's a little different than that. But that's hilarious. But my concern, you want to make it personal. So it's like the old school emails. Yes, remember when you saw your name and it was like, "Hey, Matt," and you spelled Matthew spelled wrong. It's like, that's bullshit. That's not,
insert name here, Matt. Whoops, didn't delete it.
Or dear Matt, the guy I met at Carmela's.
Yeah.
That's not real.
Yes.
So I wanted to make it personal. So I said, you know what? Let me just do this personalized, serious audio.
Okay.
And then I'll send a general text that's, "Hey guys, you're in this contact." Same thing, but more general. I realized, let me do that. So the first 10 people I sent the personal one to, I said, this isn't going to work because it'll take me 3 months to go through this whole list. So I hired a service, and then I just uploaded every single contact, put them in a thing, and then I sent it out. Now, what I didn't realize is
when you say you sent it out, can I ask?
Yeah.
Okay. When you say you sent it out, the service sent it out.
Correct.
Because you have.
I paid
whatever you said-
$110.
Okay.
All right, and it's based on the amount of leads you have, contacts
You
you
had
have.
almost 3,000 contacts.
Yeah, a little bit
Okay.
more than 3,000. So I sent that out. It was 100. Maybe it's $110, right, a monthly, and you could send these texts out, and they reply back. Now it's a new number because you have to register.
Right.
You know, you have to, and that's part of the service. You can just get a number. So my first thing in the message was, "You're getting this from this is Todd Patton." Because they know Todd, my name, but you're getting this and you might not know the number. It's my new business line, which it is.
Yeah.
It's a text line.
Yep.
And I started a new business. Here's a short audio I made. Something like that. It was that simple. The audio was the message, you know?
And then they would play.
And they would play it
was an audio
inside the
recording.
thing. Now, a lot of people replied back saying, "This looks very fishy. Is this real?" Because it's a different number.
Yeah.
Click this link. You don't want to
So
hear
they
that.
texted your other number.
Yeah. Oh, no, they texted that. They replied back saying, "This looks very clear." So all the texts come up on the computer screen.
Okay.
And you could see everybody. So you replying on that, you know, because I don't have a phone line for this. It's just you know, but I realized that there was some people that were going through, let's say, a tough time. They might have had something. This was a very general and very not salesy, but
I'm doing something new.
yeah,
right? Like,
yeah,
not hard
but
sales,
very not personal. Like to your point,
yeah.
because I couldn't do it. It would
Yeah.
be too time. But that can bite you in the butt too, because somebody happened to be going through a really tough time, and I knew him, but not I know him well, but I don't talk to him all the time. And he replied with a phone call saying, "I'm not sure if you know what happened to me," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh!" And then I realized that wasn't a good. In other words, I should have deleted certain numbers. You know,
Yep.
lesson learned. And it wasn't obviously anything that I did purposely, but it's just if you automate too much stuff, it could bite you in the butt, you know.
Yep.
And it did on that one. I apologized, and it's just a service that I use, and lesson learned, you know.
Yep.
But that's the kind of stuff I want to document. Is here's how you do it. Now it worked, but my point to the podcast or the vlog, whatever you want to call it, the individual one is. The value is in your contacts. Leverage it. Most people don't do that.
Mm-hmm.
People want to help. I mean, you know, it's like, especially if they're in your contacts, these are people that, you know, you're not putting them in there that are assholes. Let's see if we can get some help. And it's been phenomenal. The response has been awesome. Like people are, let me see what I can do. And it's been great. Not to mention, I got a lot of downloads, you know?
So when you sent that out, you said it was like 2,800 people or something?
Just over 3,000.
3,000 people. How many responses, ballpark?
Yeah.
Would you say you got?
I would say about 100 replies to it, because it wasn't a reply type message. It was
just
more
people engaging with it.
Yeah,
like,
I would say about 170, 180 that replied saying, "Oh my God, Todd, so good to haven't talked to you in so long." But it wasn't really a conversational type test, which it was good. It's not, because I wouldn't be able to respond to all of them. So the point was, as far as downloads go, that's another story, because I had a lot of downloads. I probably had 130 or so people that downloaded it.
Okay.
You know, which is great.
Downloaded the app.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know, so it's you know, again, it was lesson learned of, I let these people know I built that. Now, one person, it was negative on it. I had one negative, an ex-employee of mine from probably 15 years. Yeah, longer than 15 years ago, 10, 15 years ago, maybe. And he was a younger guy that worked for me. His reply to my text was, "No thanks, LOL." It wasn't really negative, but it was like,
not everybody gets along with everybody, or I have offended people, or whatever it is along the way.
I don't know what it was.
Whatever it is, there are some people that are still in your contacts that
exactly
that you
right
have bothered or whatever in some way.
You're not going to make everybody happy.
I should probably take them out of my contacts,
and that's it. And you know what? Right? It's a win again, even though it was negative, and inside it made me like, man, what did I do? Did I do something that really got that person upset? You know, I mean, I had a company work for him, but lesson learned is that, you know what, you don't need to be friends with everybody, you know, and you limit who your close friends are and contacts are, and that person's not going to be one, you know. So that's it, and on to the next. But that was the first topic. Now the next topic I'm going to do is networking events. And what do we do at networking events? So I'm
Mhm.
going to talk about, go to a BNI. BNI is not for everybody,
Yep.
but it's a good thing for a startup company. It's a good thing for if you have a good network of people in that BNI.
Mhm.
There's certain scenarios. So it's not that it's just not good or good, but Parkland
Mhm.
Chambers has been phenomenal for
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
But I want to talk about that. I want to let people see it. So that's what the vlog will be. So if you asked about the
Mhm.
one-to-one, it's simple. It's
Yep.
easy. And the other good thing about it is you're getting good content. Obviously, you're recording yourself, but on top of that, you're accomplishing. So to look at it this way, and you're a perfect example to tell this to. I have audio also of this, obviously, because we
Mhm.
transcribe it, right? So now I could take that and I could actually make a press release out of this, of that we did this blog.
Mm.
Even though we're not right, it's just
Mhm.
it's leveraging one piece of content to get multiple pieces.
Mhm.
I could take this and there's sites like Opus Clips as an example, $30 a month or something. Take this video, the full podcast, I upload it after it's edited, and Opus Clips creates social media posts for me, like
Wow.
20 of them.
Okay.
So now you have 20 posts of content,
Huh.
from one. And
Things that I've never even really thought about, but I'm interested in. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I'm a marketing guy. That's my background. So it's like, how do we get the most out of this?
Mhm.
You're spending an hour of your time with me in the Sprinter. How do we, instead of just,
Yeah.
now,
It's not just one thing.
yeah,
Well, and to your point, it's not just a cup of coffee that is unrecorded and all that
right.
stuff. Though there's the other side of me that goes, well, should anything be not recorded
Yeah.
then? Right? But from a
Right.
strategic
True.
perspective,
That's
right?
right.
Boy, if you're going to be doing it,
That's right.
there's multiple layers that
Well,
you
now
can
let me
be.
take it a step further.
Yeah.
All right. Now on the retention side. So if you have a business and you have clients that you want to retain, you want to
Mhm.
bring value to them. When I had my marketing agency, I always had a visual in my head of, and I preach this in staff meetings with my team. Every month, our clients are going to take a checkbook out. I want you to think about this. I want you to visualize it. And they're going to write a check and they're going to put on it the name of your company. And they're going to pay you every month. Now, a lot of people don't write checks. They use credit cards and this, that. But I visualize
Mhm.
that there's a check written every month.
Mhm.
When they sign that check, are they feeling that they got value out of that investment?
Mm.
And if they don't, we're going to lose the client. So
Mhm.
we have to show more value when they
Mhm.
write that check. So
Mhm.
whatever the check is, if it's 1,000 a month, if it's 200 a month, if it's 5,000 a month, are we giving more value? And I had an agency. One of the things we did really well is retention. We kept our clients. Our average
Mm.
client was with us for 7 years
Mm.
plus, which is rare with
Mm.
SEO, with marketing. It's because I did these types of things. I had a video team that I brought on, and we'd send the video team to the client's office and film content and create that. So we did. I was proactive when it came to. Now that wasn't part of what they paid for, but now if when they write that check, they're gonna say, "Wait a second, that video that would have cost me a couple. You know what? I'm getting value out of it.
Yeah.
It wasn't what I was doing though." So people can use podcasts as a way to retain their clients. So
Hmm.
whoever it is you have, I'm going to have you come on a podcast. These aren't free. You got to produce it. You got to do this,
Yeah.
but that's the value I would say of you could bring to somebody is that, and you don't need to have a Sprinter. Look, you don't have to have this. You could set it up. I have one of my vendors that's on my app is a blind company. It's called Best Buy Window Treatment. They're amazing. Uh, Local business in Coral Springs. Owner's great, and Ergen is his name. And I told him, Ergen, we got to have you do a podcast now, and we'll bring on realtors, and we'll bring on interior designers, and
Mm.
we'll bring on now. His podcast is going to be in his showroom.
Mm.
So I sent him the link. He's bought all the equipment. We're setting up, and we're going to film our first one, I think, next week. And we're going to bring realtors in. What does that do? He meets the realtors. He builds a relationship, which is his referral source,
Mhm.
right? And content. We create great content from social
Mhm.
media, so it checks a lot of boxes.
Mhm. Mhm.
That's the overview of why I think podcasts are so good.
So if he just has, so hey, say he wants to do it. Say I want to do it, right?
Yeah.
So you have a Sprinter van. You said you don't need a Sprinter van.
Mm.
Of course, you don't need a Sprinter van, but
Yeah.
you do have.
Yeah. There's a
What is
lot
the
of
mobile
benefits. Yeah.
studio?
Mobile studios.
You have multiple cameras. You have this
Tech.
technology.
Yeah.
So if one were just starting out, and I have a phone, or maybe a second phone if everybody has access to a
Mhm.
couple of phones.
Mhm.
But I don't have microphones.
Easy.
What do I
So
get headphones? I
yeah,
have a headphone. Our kids
yeah,
have headphones,
yeah.
but like what do you do to start?
So good point. Good question too. I'll include in this when we edit this the links to buy these on Amazon.
Mm.
A couple $100.
Okay.
But these mics are inexpensive. You mentioned
You
the
should have
cameras.
mics like this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for
Okay.
sure. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
I don't
And
even know what the
yeah,
what you totally
but
should have and what's
yeah,
optional.
I mean, look, nowadays you can go to Amazon, you can type in podcast mics, and you'll see hundreds of them.
Okay.
But I have good ones that I put on there that I'll share. Lighting. You don't need this. This is a little bit over the top. I don't need a computer to do this podcast. That's why, because it's more. But really, if I was just starting out, just use your laptop, and you could you don't need the cameras here, and
do you use the camera on your laptop?
No.
What equipment do you need?
Yeah.
How does it work? Sorry. How does it work talking to a computer? Like you said,
yeah.
Just use your laptop,
so here's what you need with a pod. So to do a
podcast,
podcast, you need to have somewhere where it's hosted. Because if you just grab your cell phone and do an audio file, technically that's a podcast, right? You just talk into it. That's a podcast is listening.
Yeah.
The reason I like the video so much is because YouTube is the second largest search engine, so we can upload it right to YouTube.
Yeah.
People search and they want to find you, and it's engaging. People want, they watch it, and for social media. That's really, those are the main points. But a podcast is really just the audio. Every podcast I do goes to Spotify, Apple, all the ones to listen to. But to make it to where it's clear and it's good quality and not just your audio things, there's softwares that you could use. I use Riverside. It's Riverside FM is a platform, $30 a month or something, but it's where you host your podcast.
Okay.
Now, so all the audio, everything gets recorded on there, edited and everything like that. And then once you have the podcast edited, now it's about how do we distribute it. And there's a site called Podbean that does that. And that Podbean is basically like you upload it to Podbean and it shoots it out to Spotify, Apple, all the platforms where you could listen to podcasts, Okay. So that's basically the but you need a hosting is what it is, to host.
So if you are, if I say, all right, I'm going to talk for 5 minutes about Hendricks Farms behind me over here.
Yeah.
And I record that. Am I recording that? And you say on my laptop. It seems like the video on my phone is higher quality than the camera on my laptop.
So let me back that up. Right now, there's no computer here, right?
Right.
This audio is going into this, right?
Yeah.
Into this hard drive right here.
Yeah.
Everything's being saved in that hard drive. This is expensive. If you're just starting out, you don't need that. Right. You could just take a computer. Don't think about the camera.
Okay.
And your mics and everything gets plugged into the computer, so you're hosting it inside at the Riverside or one of those sites through your computer. So the audio is going. So you see how the
But then I got to capture the video.
Yeah. So the video, your camera, your cell phone.
Right. So then somehow those are getting matched up somewhere.
Yeah. Well, it does. So that's what it does. Is when you connect Riverside, these are sites that are hosted. When you plug in your mic to your computer, Riverside is the hosting. That's where it hosts your cell phone. It syncs in with that. So the audio is, it syncs in.
It pulls it together.
Totally. Okay.
Okay.
Now I have 2 of them. I have 3 actually, but since there's not 3 people, we could do 3 people with 3 mics, and this software puts everything into one.
Okay.
For you. So the editing is really easy after.
Yeah.
But it's really I wouldn't recommend people doing 3 or 4 guests. I would have it just you and one other, or a solo one.
Yeah.
And you know what? To start off, just do a solo one.
Yeah.
Like a vlog. Like I mentioned, have your topics.
Yeah. Right.
And if you're in finance or you want to do, you're a little bit restricted on that.
Yeah.
But plus it's not as fun. I would say do
Parkland-based stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, for tap.
It's amazing.
You can talk about anything.
Man, we could do so much.
Yeah.
And that's what people are interested in, what's happening with the farm.
Yep.
And talk to realtors, bring realtors on and say, hey, let's bring, have you go to restaurants.
Yep.
You're a media company.
Yep.
And that's what this is a tool to help create that content,
That's great.
Awesome. Well, Been great, man. And you're good. It's a great avenue. You're going to be a
Thanks
good
for the
host.
time.
You're going to be sitting in the host seat soon. I think there might be a warming it up for you.
I'm interested. We'll see
Yeah,
where this goes. But
awesome.
thank you for showing me the ropes a little
Yeah.
bit. This is totally interesting. Great man.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Matt.
Thanks for the
See you,
time.
man. All right.